Today it's more like 50%, but it was already 25% 80 years ago. So how do we account for this? Conventionally, when people have discussed this sort of dialogue about desires or a distinguished figure, if you will, there are many differences among American Westerns, but there is essentially a standard plot to a Western.
There is the last 2 decades that they've had a chance to experience the job market and freedom to participate fully, or more fully at least, in American life.
Los Angeles in the 1950s, and her Bible was a book called The Thinking Body by Mary Todd that came out in 1937. People who know about stars, including somebody called Richard Dyer,
large number of population, and they are a large consumer group that is in fact ignored by advertisers. So we do have the so-called...
I'm going to talk today about Presidential Campaign 2000. I want to talk about the influence of paid media, that is advertising, unpaid media, that is presidential debating,
election campaign than the one we just heard about with Professor Cthulhu. Probably the longest campaign in American history, even though the formal campaign I don't think is going to begin until the late summer. We're already pretty well sure who the candidates are, and they're fighting each other tooth and nail already. Something else which I find quite interesting.
Of the Parliament, but for the Prime Minister. I suppose that the mechanistic metaphor of the American model
will attend the games. If you translate that into global exposure, you will end up with a lot of money, which Greece or any organized city would have to pay to get this kind of exposure.
Elaborate on. To say that negative advertising poisons the political climate, in my opinion, is to give it far, far too much credit. Negative ads are a minuscule part of any political campaign, even though they make up 60% in general of the advertising.
Listen, I want you to roust him out of bed. I'll bring you to CIA, NSA, roust him out of bed as hard as work. Honey, I'm going to be up an hour. I won't come up now. Now listen, you tell your staff. General Scott, well, no, I don't think it's German.
I would mostly like to thank the General Consulate of Thessaloniki, in particular Consul General Alec Mali.
I don't get up to Thessaloniki once in a while. And what I do in my job is I work with media, Greek media, international media. I work with educators and I work with culture to basically talk about the United States. But before that, before I joined the diplomatic service 18 years ago, I was a journalist.
La